So, my grandpa passed away here a few weeks back now. And, well, he's gonna get cremated. Actually, wrote it up here. And after that, you put it in, well, I can't pronounce that word correctly. But it's just, well, one of these. You put the ashes in here. Or, this is obviously from the outside then. And then it was actually Dad that came up with the idea that I should make one. And, well, I can't say no to that. And I thought it would be kind of nice, cool, little fun project to do. And also it would be, it's just nicer kind of to make my own instead of just going and buying one. And what I kind of wanted to do first was to make it out of a solid piece of like a log. But the problem with that is that I don't have anyone that is dried, so we're gonna have to dry it. And that just takes a long time. And also we only have a couple days to make this, so, you know, to dry that probably takes at least a month, so that's not gonna work out. Then we're gonna have to make it out of dried wood, and that'll be some boards, so we're gonna have to glue pieces together. And I could make something really simple, but that's just kind of boring, so I don't want to do that. So I thought we are gonna make something a little more complicated. And that is just something kind of like this. And that is just gonna be birch for the kind of lighter wood, and then oak for some darker wood there. And then we'll kind of just make this pad in here. And also it's going to be the end grain facing out all the way around. I think that will be looking kind of nice. And then also kind of this shape here. Oh, yeah, that's what we're going to make anyway. So let's go and get some material now. So I got a piece of oak here and a piece of birch, and I took some ugly pieces just because I need fairly short pieces, and then it's good to use the ugly stuff because you can usually cut that away. But this is pretty cracked up, and the pith is going here too, so that just kind of makes it all nasty in here too. And I had to get some more pieces because these two pieces here was just a little bit too ugly to get all the pieces out of that I needed. But now let's just cut some pieces here. That is 60 centimeters long. Roughly, it doesn't need to be very exact, but it's definitely not going to be shorter than that. And then we'll just get them over to the table saw and cut them down lengthwise, cut off all the ugly stuff like this. And then we'll just run them through the planer to get them nice and square. Freaking idiot, I just missed that. So you're gonna have to plane everything again to get rid of that. So, got all these planed down again, and now it's all good. And I try to be pretty picky about what wood I took, but you still kind of get a lot of knots with. I don't like that one, but I kind of tight on time now, so I'm just gonna leave it and hope it all works out. And something like that, well, I'm gonna leave it. I don't think it will be that hard to take care of if it would end up showing. I think you can just cut out the little piece and kind of fill it in or something. Well, that's the future problem. We're gonna leave it for now. And now it's just to glue all these pieces together. So when I put glue on this and gonna clamp it together, I can just line this line up and I know that these are the like I want them. And I'm just gonna do kind of a dry glue up or clamp everything together without any glue, and that's because especially with these clamps, they're a little special. It's so stupid to have all the glue in place and then you have to adjust a bunch of things and the glue is setting up and you get really stressed out. So it's just better to know that everything is good, and then it's just to add the glue and put the pieces together and clamp it together. Like, I suppose it's different between different glues, but you have like 6-7 minutes, 8 minutes maybe before the glue starting to set up, so you have to get it pressed together before that. So I think that's good now. So now it's just to take the clamps off again and put glue on everything. And that's just to try to not spill anything. Well, didn't spill a drop. It's perfect. Hope this bottle works at least. Well, that's stupid, bottle. This is just gonna be in the way now. Well, that's real dumb. Get rid of that then. Freaking idiot. I was not meant to put glue on that one. My gosh, freaking dumbass. I'm gonna have to clean that off. I've never done that before. This piece of it leave in place. I'm not gonna put glue on that. I've never done. Oh my gosh, I'm too tired. It's too late. I should go to bed instead of doing this, but I don't got time to go to bed. Oh my gosh. I'm just gonna scrape it off for now and have to sand the rest off tomorrow. Oh, leave it like that. And I just kind of wipe the glue off with some water too. Should be good enough. And well, let's just get this clamp together here ASAP. We're already gone like 5 minutes. I don't like big glue ups. It's too stressy. I really should get some glue that has like 20 minutes set time instead of, oh, now I'm messing even more stuff up. Come on. What I usually do is spread this out so I get to make sure that all the pieces covered with glue. Oh man, I really have to go to bed instead of doing this, but there we go. Finally got this all clamped together. I probably should clean this excess glue up, but that's tomorrow's problem. It's too late right now, so. So this has just been drying overnight, and I'm just gonna clean up some of the excess glue here, and we're just gonna get the sander and sand this down and just clean it up a little bit, and then we'll so. I got this thing all sanded down and it's looking pretty good. Still got these weird stains left that it gets, I think the glue kind of reacts with the metal and the wood, and then it kind of stains the wood. And I try to sand most of it away, but I can't really sand it all away because then it will get all wavy. But I made sure to move around a lot, so it feels really nice and flat, not like it's wavy like this. And yeah, that would be really nice to have a thickness sander or drum sander. Just run this piece through and just take it all off. It's kind of like a planer, but it sands instead of having knives that cut the wood. So it just has a big roller that spins fast with sandpaper on it. Now I'm just gonna cut this edge off, and then we go over to the table saw and cut pieces like this, 7 centimeters wide, this. And we're just gonna stand these up on end so the end grain goes like that, and glue that together. Well, I don't know what happened, but I'm just cutting, and it's just cutting on an angle, even if this was parallel with a line. And it just, I don't know, it seems like the blade isn't cutting very well on one side, but just think, let's see if we can find a new blade and put that on and see if that helps. So I didn't find a new one, but I found 2 used ones. So we'll just try those and see if they are any better, because this one did not work at all. Well, that ain't right. There it locks. Well, it was definitely not as good as a new blade, but a lot better than the other one at least. They cut diagonally. And this is not super precise, it's just roughly 7 centimeters. Ooh, that's not good. And a big chip out there. Huh. That's dumb. Let's see if we can glue that back in there. But now I got these edges just kind of clean up these little fussy stuff. Maybe not necessary, but I thought it would be nice. And that is mostly because these are kind of sticking out here and getting in between when we're gonna glue, and that's just stupid. Having junk in between here, then it's not gonna, these pieces are not gonna get pressed up against each other as good as it would be if it's completely clean from those little pieces. But now it's just well, glue it up like it is put here pretty much. So I got this set up here to glue together. At first I thought to glue all the birch pieces on one side and then all the oak pieces on one side, but then I accidentally put it the wrong way, the first piece, and I thought, well, let's just put it, you know, birch oak to get it like this, because that's what I want in the end. I just thought to glue it together, all the birch pieces like this, and then kind of turn it around so we'll get a more of a pattern here. So, finally got this thing clamped together. And yeah, I think it will turn out okay. And I think I got it pretty straight there, and I got a lot of clamps on here. And I just leave it for, well, I'd like to leave it for like an overnight, but a couple hours have to do. I think that should be enough, because I'm kind of don't have too much time to do this. So, and it's just I don't know, a couple hours later. So let's get these clamps off here. Hopefully it's dried enough at least. Yeah, this would be another time where it would be really nice for the thickness sander or drum sander, just to run it through and get a nice smooth and flat surface. But oh yeah, this isn't that good, but this sanding was just to kind of clean it up a bit, get rid of some of the glue, and this stain here will all get removed when we turn this. So, and if you wonder how this end grain cutting board looking thing will turn into, well, that's what I'm gonna try explaining now. So now we got a pretty thick piece here with a grain going like this. So what I kind of want to do now is to take this piece and just bend it around in a circle, if that makes any sense. So how are we going to do that? Well, what we're going to do is just to cut triangle pieces out of this. And, well, then the triangles, we can just glue those together in a circle, kind of like that. And those has to be really exact though, because if this angle is just a little bit off, well, because it's going to be 18 pieces all the way around, it's going to be quite a lot off in the end. So it's going to have to be very precisely cut. So also what we're going to do is to do a couple of test pieces. Just takes maybe this or something else and just, well, check so the angle is right on the saw. This thing weighs like, I don't know, 15-20 kilos or something like that. It's okay, maybe not 20, but it's really heavy. It's just this little corner here that it could not cut, so we'll just get rid of that. And we're just gonna angle this all to about 10 degrees. Or exactly 10 degrees, I maybe should say. At least it should be 10 degrees. If my calculations are right. Should be 10 degrees. And I'm just gonna make a piece 4 centimeters wide here at the bottom. I mean, it doesn't necessarily need to be exactly, it's not super precise, but So here you can see this piece, or pieces, and it doesn't look terrible maybe, but you can see, okay, sure, I haven't gotten these all closed up perfectly, but it's good enough. You can see you got a good bit of gap there when it's close to everywhere else. But the thing is, if I'm gonna change that, so what I should do is to change the angle of these pieces. But that little, right there, I don't know, I mean, on the blade there, I'm gonna angle it maybe like, change the angle maybe 0.2 degrees or something like that. It's just so stupidly little. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to get it any better than this actually. But obviously I can't glue it together with this big of a gap. But I think I have a little plan how to fix that. So what we're gonna do is to glue together pieces like this, like that, and like that, or something like that anyway. And then we can just take the hand plane or some other way, remove a little bit of material here, 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 and there. And that is just gonna be, I don't know, less than 0.5 millimeter, which means if this piece is 0.5 millimeter thinner than this one, you're not gonna be able to see that. And I don't know if it's gonna be 0.5 millimeter or whatever it's gonna be, but it's gonna be really little. And then we're just gonna have to check, so it will all line. So these 4 pieces then will line up and go together without a gap. And I hope that made kind of sense, at least. And well, now let's just go and cut these up to pieces like that, or like that, I mean. So, got all of them cut now. That's kind of what it's gonna look like when it's glued together, at least. And then we're just gonna turn this. But as you can maybe see here, it's pretty rough surface. So what I want to do is to kind of sand this down, smooth it out a little bit. And this would be perfect to have a drum sander again, because you could just make a little jig. So you can just go and have this at the right angle, and then just sand it off a little bit. Take off 1/2 mil or something like that on both sides. But again, I don't have one, so just plane down a piece of wood and make it nice and flat. So when I kind of, oh, should have made it longer. Anyway, so we're gonna just put some sandpaper on this and just try to sand it, making sure to not change the angle too much at least. Yeah, hope that will work at least. Oh. Now I should hopefully be able to just sand it. And I'm trying to keep really light and even pressure to not push too much on this corner so it gets all wonky. And this isn't really, it's pretty stiff, so it's not gonna flex either, hopefully. You can really see these lines from the saw blade that I dug down deeper. The drum sander would have been real nice to just take it all off and would have been perfect, but yeah. I'm just a little dusty. I even got white hair on the arm now. So I got all these sanded down and they're still kind of rough, but I can't really get rid of it. Then I will just have to sand off a lot, and then I'm scared I'm just gonna end up making this thing wavy and change the angle of this, but I think it should work out good enough anyway, like it is. And I kind of marked the top of them here, and also the sides, so I know that they're gonna go together in this orientation, or in this place, kind of, yeah. So now it's just to glue it together, and we'll get some use out of these test pieces here too, because when we're gonna glue this together, this is an angle. It's always tricky to glue pieces on an angle, but then we can just put that like that, and another one like that, and then we can get the clamp on here, clamp this together like that, and these pieces are just to keep it from sliding down. So I had a bit of an issue here, and that is that I didn't get this end clamped together good enough here. You can see almost got a little gap there, which I got really stressed over because I waited. So this is pretty much set up the whole clamp time that you needed on this, but I got it clamped together just a little more. It actually still got a little gap up here, but seems to be good down here. And one of these I'm gonna still turn away because it's at least that much too long. So I think it's good enough, and it was the same thing on the other two, but I got it kind of clamped together, so hope it will be good enough. Now I know I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen again. So now I got all these glued together, except two pieces. These two, I haven't glued these together, and that's because later I'm gonna glue these together, and then I'll have, and then these would go together, these and that, and then those two. So then I have 4 pieces plus these two. So that will be 5 pieces we're going to glue together into the circle, which I want as little pieces as possible. So what I thought we're going to do is to glue one of these into that first. And that will be kind of hard because I can't really use the clamps and these pieces now. I think just using a ratchet strap would work. That's what I'm going to do when we glue these pieces together at least. Actually, I think I'm just gonna get rid of this for now, and then should be able to just put this around here. I'm not sure, it's not much to clamp around, but I think it will work. That's at least really the only way I can do it, so hope it works. Oh, we'll just leave it like that, we don't need to tighten that down. And this tape was just terrible. It really didn't help anything, so. Oh, not much anyway. So that's not gonna go that way, it's gonna go that way. And I do put on both sides, I just don't put it very thick. Now, just to try to get the rat to strap around this. There we go. We got it glued together, and it looks like it squeezed it real tight. Shouldn't have said anything, it's not even tight here at the bottom. Hey, that worked. So you can see these are not going together super good. I think that's because it's on glue here and whatever. But that's kind of the thing. I don't think any of these are 100% perfect. So I think we're going to just... So what I think I'm going to do is just to take the sanding block and sand these again. And hope they will go together good then. Well, I don't know how that turned out, but I don't think it actually turned out that bad. I think it turned out okay. So this thing probably dried enough now. Oh, I have decided that I have at least. Just get this apart, and then we can start gluing. Oh. These kind of pieces together here, which is really just the same as gluing this on, just that it's, well, a little bigger kind of. I just think you're gonna have to sand this down a little bit, or it's a little bit wobbly on the spot here. You maybe can't see that, but So I thought I'd just show how I kind of fit these together. Well, it's not much to it really, but I just marked these like this just to see where it's taking off material. And I suppose just the sand really. You can see it's taking off a lot less at the ends here. Maybe you can see there. Taking off a lot less at the ends, and it's starting to take off more in the middle here. So that means it's kind of going like this, and I think that piece is also like that, so. So I did want to get this all glued up today, but it's just getting kind of too late, so I'll have to finish gluing all these pieces together tomorrow. So now it's just to make all these fit together perfectly with no gaps, or very minimal gaps at least. And they aren't perfect. As you can see, I got a bit of gap here. I'm gonna just take off a little out here on all of them. So I'm just gonna start with sanding it down smooth and putting a little more pressure out here to try to make this go a little more like that. So, with a lot of sanding, and a lot more sanding, and a little planing, and a little more sanding, I actually got these things pretty good. It's still a bit of a gap here, but what I think I'm gonna do is just to put glue here, and then clamp it together like this, and then we got two halves. So then we can just sand these surfaces and get them nice and flat against each other. And then because it's not a little gap here, it's not gonna get all that much pressure on this, or it might actually be a little gap, but what we can do is just to put a clamp from here to here, squeeze that together a little bit, and then it should tighten this gap up here. And I'm just vacuuming off all the dust from the sanding. Oh no, I don't got the brush ready. That's in water. And so the glue doesn't dry, I just put the brush in a little bucket of water. But then you have to get all the water out, because if not you get a bunch of water in the glue. So I was a little stupid and I took it apart as you saw, and then I just messed around with it a little bit because it seems to, I tried to squeeze it together a little more, and that was not very smart because it just broke apart right here. So yeah, but thankfully the glue was still wet, so I just threw more glue on there and got it squeezed together, and just hope for the best now. I think it should be just fine. I'm just gonna have to wait a little longer. And then I just made another one of those, and I just made sure it's nice and flat here. See, it's touching everywhere there, and also that these are parallel. You can kind of see the one down there. It's not like it's like that, then it wouldn't be parallel. So we're gonna just sand it down now. So these surfaces gets nice and flat and will go together perfectly. So after a whole lot of sanding, it's actually looking really nice. And the gap is, well, I mean, it's very hard to get it absolutely 100% perfectly, so it's a tiny bit of gap in some places, but you know, that shouldn't really be a problem. Actually, I think you've gone about an hour, so we can just take these off. And I don't think I got too much glue on it, but just to put the straps in some water and it should dissolve the glue. That shouldn't be a problem. And I'm really happy with this. It's definitely some gaps we're gonna have to fill after it's turned, but it's definitely not too bad. So I just got some pieces of plywood here. I'm playing this down a little bit, and that's just so we can glue these on here. And that is just to, well, so we can mount it in the lathe, because I'm gonna use, what do you call that? Like the center. So we have to have something in the center. We can't have a big hole here. So yeah, we're just gonna glue these here. And then these pieces we are just gonna just turn away later when we don't need them anymore. So now we got this whole thing glued together. It's pretty much just to put it in the lathe. We're gonna have to mark the center here so we know where to put it. That is close enough right there. Oh, and right there. I think that will work. So just to start turning this. That's actually looking pretty good. It's not even that much gaps. I mean, it's a little bit here and there, but not too bad. And those that are, we're just gonna have to fill those. So I'm just gonna start with cleaning this up like this the whole way, and then we're gonna start, I think we're just gonna turn a tenon of this plywood so we can mount it with a chuck like this. And then we're gonna take that thing right there that I made this morning, which is just a steady rest to hold this in place, or not hold it in place, make it a little like, give it a little support out here because it's sticking out very far from the chuck, so it's just gonna rip out of the chuck if I start turning here if we don't have one. And then we're gonna turn this down and make a tenon on this end, and also put a bottom in this right here, and then turn it around, hold it here in the and hold it here with the chuck, and then start turning the shape of this. it's just a little too tight. Then it should just be to put these wheels kind of push these up against a little bit and get these nuts tightened down. So now when I turn this, it will put pressure kind of sideways here, which will put a lot of pressure over here at the chuck, but now this should take up some of that pressure. Okay, I think I'm gonna have to push these down more against this because it kind of moves now still. Yeah, well that's this should take up some of that sideways pressure, so we're not gonna break the tenon off on the other side. So I just tightened these up just a little bit, and I think it's pretty good now. So now I should have hopefully plenty of support, and I'm gonna make sure to take really light cuts because I don't want to break this thing. Well, I just bought this thing, mostly for this project, because I thought it would work good. Well, I realized now it was probably not the best purchase, but that doesn't really matter. This should still not happen. Shouldn't be able to pull, you know, the tool part out of the handle part. I mean, I can just pull that off by hand. What is this? I mean, they just shoved it in a hole. I mean, what is that? That's freaking terrible. So I just went ahead and put this in the milling machine and just drilled a hole through here, and just put the first nail that I found through there. Not the best solution, but should be able to get this done at least, because now it's not going to turn in the handle anymore. So I've been trying to turn this out in here just a little bit, but I just don't have the right tools to do it. I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure something out because I need to get this thing done today. But now let's just well, actually we're gonna have to turn this tenon first, and then we're just gonna glue in, make the bottom piece here and glue that in. So I'll let this thing just be for a little while, and I think it's dried enough now. So let's just put this back in the lathe and start turning down the outside. I thought I could talk about tools here a little quickly, because I said I didn't have any right tools to turn the inside there. And that's kind of true, because I bought this one, so I started out turning with that one from the bottom, trying to turn out a little bit, you know, on the inside there, as you saw. But this just wasn't the right tool at all. It didn't work at all. So then, when I started out there at the top, as you just saw, started to use this little half-inch ball gouge. But the problem is, why I didn't want to use ball gouges, and why I got that one, is because when you angle this a little wrong here, it's super easy for it to catch on this edge right here, like it just did. But thankfully I bought this big 3/4 inch ball gouge, and what I did a little later here is, well, now I re-ground it back, but I ground this whole edge away and just turned with a tip here, and that's just so it didn't have anything to catch on. It didn't have this edge to kind of catch on like it just did there. And that actually worked out really well. This is probably the best tool I could have gotten for that, actually, if I just ground this edge here away just like I did. But thankfully this wasn't damaged or anything, so I could just center it back up and continue turning.
Dessutom rågat, du har ju egentligen mer den här biten dessutom. Man ska ha helt över botten där det fanns ett vidare. Man får verkligen
hur han faller. Räcker inte det?
Ja, precis, räcker det.
And my plan here for fastening the lid is to thread it. And I bought these couple of threading tools so we can cut threads in the wood. And my lathe doesn't go slow enough, so I made this little thing for the drill, so I can just get somebody else to turn the lathe so I can cut the threads. And I never cut threads before, and I didn't have time to try it, so well, we'll see how this goes. So it was kind of hard to get started cutting the threads, but it took a little while to get the hang of it. But look at that, fully formed threads, and they actually look really nice. And with this I just did this exact same thing as with the bottom there. We're just gonna thread this in the lathe here, and turn a lid out of it as quickly as we can, because it's really late at evening now and I just want to get this done because this whole thing has to be done tomorrow. So. That's what the lid would look like. It's kind of simple, and I am gonna put it, when I got threads on this, I'm just gonna put it in here and just sand it then. And well, it's just to turn on threads now. And I think it would be kind of nice just having a nice little flat lid on there. I don't know, we'll see. But I don't have time for anything more fancy now either way, so. And this external thread cutting tool just looks like this, and it just works the same way. And they are really hard to get started. Actually, that would be better. I got a little instruction with it, and I think you should start kind of like a motion like this. Did not do that last time, so maybe that will make it a little easier. I gotta say, it actually worked really well just starting it like this by hand, and then I think get somebody to spin it, or if you can spin the lathe slowly, that would be the best, but yeah, that worked pretty good. And now another hard part is to make these threads match up with the threads on the other piece there. They do sell a little fancy measuring tools, but I didn't get that because that was like half the price of these two tools here. So, yeah. Not sure if I cut enough, but I'm gonna just take it out because it's between center. It's super easy to just get it in and get it aligned again. And I suppose because I'm cutting by hand, it really doesn't matter if it's lined up or not. The moment of truth here. Will it fit? I think it's like really close. I just need to take off a tiny bit more. You can see kind of what it looked like. I think that would look pretty nice with that lid actually. So this is my second try here. Just been taken off a little bit. So let's see if it will fit. No, I'm just kidding. This is like definitely not my second try. This is like the hundreds. And that little tool that you can measure the threads size so they are right. I think they would be pretty nice because I tried this thing all over and over again and just taking off a little bit in between. It would though be nice if you can use the lathe to spin it, not have to spin it by hand. But now it fits really good at least. Just a little snug there and there, but then goes pretty nice. Maybe you can take off a hair more. You know what, I might take off just a hair more, but good. Hot paint. And then I also put on a little like a beeswax stuff on here just to lubricate it a little bit and make it go a little easier. I think that also helped a bit. So I just threw some of these mega jumbo jaws on here, really big jaws. And that's just so we can clamp around here. And also you got these rubber pieces here, so you can clamp on the finished piece without destroying it. So we're gonna see if we can get this in here. Maybe. There we go. That actually runs really true. I thought it would be more off, would kind of wobble, but that's pretty perfect actually. What an ugly knot it was there. I mean, it doesn't matter because it's the underside and everything, but still a real ugly knot. So, there we go, we're done. Finally, just gonna get this out of the chuck here and throw some finish on this thing, and that's the last thing. We're done after the finish. That's not good. Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, I'm really happy with this thing. It's really nice like it is, but it will be even nicer when we get some finish on it. And I'm just gonna use some of this, just the first thing I found on the shelf really. Oh, we finally got this thing finished, and it turned out absolutely great here. Well, it's not the best light, but I'll show you better tomorrow. But it's all finished anyway, so I finally get to go to bed, because it's like 20 minutes past midnight. So there we go, we got this thing finished, and that was just in time because this is the like the day after I finished it, kind of. Yeah, and it's needed today, so it got done just in time. The finish haven't really dried yet, it's still like a little tacky, but I'm really happy with this anyway. It turned out pretty great. It's a few things that I'm not super happy with, but it's still not too bad. It's this glue joint here, this joint turned out kind of not great, and then the CA glue there kind of stained the wood, which is kind of ugly, but whatever. And if you wonder why I use CA glue, not wood glue, like you usually do, that's just because CA glue dries really quickly, and wood glue takes a really long time to dry, and I just didn't have time to wait. It's not too bad still. I'm pretty happy with it. Some of this I didn't get this sanded out as much as I should. I was kind of I didn't have enough time to do this really. It was a little tight. And it's just one layer of finish on this, isn't two. And this is the worst glue joint here, the CA glue. Well, it's pretty good. If you, like, from here it looks pretty good. Well, yeah, I'm pretty happy with it anyway. It definitely got some imperfections. It can definitely be made improvements, but I'm still really happy with this. And I'm also really happy with I got these threads done, because when I started cutting, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. So I got kind of scared that I wouldn't be able to cut the threads, and I had to do some other solution to fasten the lid, but I did get it. And for being the first time cutting threads, I think it turned out absolutely great. And the whole lid also turned out pretty nice, I think. Fairly simple, but still nice. And I don't know if I talked about that earlier, but you can see there it's kind of an edge down there that I didn't get it turned down all the way to the bottom. And well, I didn't do that for well, really just because it's so deep. I don't know if you can get the perspective really here, but this is the turning tool I used. It's really long, it's like a meter long almost. But when you stick this down here and gonna turn, well, it just gets really far, like overhang. Kind of, it will hang over about that much if I'm gonna go to the bottom, and you can't really do that because if it kind of catches and stuff, it will just kind of kick up here. So this is probably the most you want. I had a little more, but I just couldn't get to the bottom. And also this should be 5 liters. It's not quite 5 liters, it's like between 4.5 and 5 liters, which I think should be enough. I did calculate it, so if I did get that turned out down there, it should be like 5.5 liters at least. And then a little story. My grandpa was like a, what do you call it? Like a woodworking teacher, kind of in school. For children mostly, but he did a lot of woodworking and liked to do things himself and everything. And then he also was with in maybe the 50s or something like that, was with in a kind of like woodworking contest, whatever you want to call it, in Sweden then. And he won that contest, and then if you won that, you was kind of the best in Sweden. So it's kind of funny. It's the best in Sweden, and then it was also with in the like a Nordic contest between the Nordic countries. And he came second in that, so it was kind of, he was really good. And well, I think it would like this, so kind of why I made it. And also thought it was just kind of a funny challenge, see if I could do it, make something like this, gluing all pieces together and everything. But well, I think it turned out pretty good at least. So but well, this is all finished now, so hope you enjoyed the video. And thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.